Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Iracing League special event at Bathurst. This is a multi-car race. We have the Rough C-Spec, we have the Mustang, and we have the MX-5 Cup car. We have a 44 car field tonight, and also in the commentary box we have Alex Bird.
Yeah, hey, how you going?
Not too bad. How you going, Alex?
Yeah, good. I'm excited to see how this one unfolds. I've got a few of my teammates in the race, so looking forward to seeing them do well and watching some havoc, really.
Yeah, well, that's it. The multi-car race is going to make it a little bit interesting to say.
Yeah, certainly with the MX-5 versus the Rough, the speed difference is pretty severe, so it should make it quite exciting as far as multi-class racing goes.
Oh, well, just in qualifying and practice there, we saw some really good times there. We had Dylan Shepherd up the front there with a 207.607. Funny enough, with him and Desmond, it was actually Dean Ross and Desmond. On the first lap they came out, they got identical times.
Wow, well, it shows you the level of the rough field and the front runners, and I think you'll see that that's going to be a really tight race. It'll really be a question of who can keep the car straight. I think if you can't, the qualifying's all good, but it's 90 minutes of Bathurst, and you know, without a straight car, you can't do those 207s.
Oh, exactly, and the boys were pushing a bit in the practice and qualifying that I was watching. A few of them were getting tangled up with a few of the Mustangs and a couple of MX-5s down the back straight there. There is a bit of a difference in speed there.
Yeah, I think 65 km now between the Rough and the MX-5, and the Mustang's somewhere in the middle, which is pretty severe. So the Rough is up pushing towards 280 kilometers an hour, and the MX-5 is 200.
Oh, exactly. Like down there, I think it's going to be well, personally, I think it's going to be a bit of a racecraft. A race here with the skills of the drivers to not only avoid the other cars, but to the MX-5 cars to let the faster guys through. You know, you got to keep your race line. You got to keep on that race line and let them go around you. You know. Yeah,
and I think what you'll see with the severe draft effect in the MX-5 is there'll be packs of the MX-5, so you'll get these roughs catching 3-4 MX-5s in one go, which will be quite challenging. I imagine you won't have many MX-5s wanting to lift because that breaks the draft, so it should be an interesting state of affairs.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. The MX-5s, the power on this track, you know, when you go from a V8 or a Mustang or even the Rough, going back to an MX-5, you really hold the power on in certain corners, and if you have that little moment, you know, the MX-5s are really floaty in the suspension, so if you're going to lose a little bit of traction or a little bit of loss and you have to come off that power, that's really going to disadvantage you in a few corners here.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you've got to get lapped at the cutting, if you've got to get lapped at Forest Elbow, those are both really going to cost you. You know, I think from the cutting to Skyline is flat in the MX-5, as I understand, and or close to, and so it's essentially, you know, a big draft section up there as well. And if you get a bad exit from the cutting or a bad exit from Forest Elbow, you'll be in real strife to keep up with the cutting.
Yeah, well, that's the thing here. So it's really going to give it a wide range, and I think they've put a good race together tonight. Choosing these three different cars, it's not the usual race you would pick. It's not like a 911 or a GT3 race up against, you know, an MX-5 or even a V8 around Bathurst. It's something. It's a mixed bag, and I think that's what's going to give it a little bit of edge tonight.
Yeah, it's somewhat reminiscent of the VLN, which races at the other crazy iRacing track at Nordschleife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You have three cars, none of which have ABS. The MX-5 has ABS, but the fast cars don't have ABS. The MX-5 doesn't have traction control. So they're not simple cars to drive at the limit. and it's going to be a real challenge to cleanly drive those qualifying standard laps all the way through the 90 minutes.
Well, that's it. All right, well, we'll show on the grid for tonight. We've got Dylan Shepherd up front with Andrew Walter, Desmond Hinkley, Dean Ross in 4th, Greg Burke in 5th, Pat Gallo in 6th. Russ McQueen in 7th, Scott Stevens in 8th, Dale Coldling in 9th, Mitchell Chapman in 10th, 11 Jaden Wood, Paul Nelson in 12th.
And then we have the Mustang field with Craig Edwards on pole, and 16 Mustangs tonight, so that's the biggest field. We're away. Great start.
Field tonight.
Yeah, great start from Shep. From Andrew Welter. Sorry, he's into turn 1 first. He's taken Shep, and we've already got one going. We've already got a rough around in the fence. That's Scott Stevens.
That's Scott Stevens.
FSR driver number 1 is gone for the night. Oh, he'll be back. He didn't hit very hard. Welter leading up the hill to the cutting, and he's already pulled a little gap here. We've got still Shepherd behind, but it's already up to 8/10 of a second, and he's got the hammer down.
Yeah, he's getting a little lead already, so he's probably sitting pretty thinking, yeah, I'm not going to get caught up in anything at the moment, but let's look further back in the field.
So Edwards leading the Mustangs over the top of the hill, and this is much tighter together. It's quite a short gap from Edwards back to Paul Jones, and then Sam Katakuzenis in 3rd. A little bit of a gap behind them though. Back, if you jump to the MX-5s, you can see those draft trains forming. You've got 4 cars punching over the top of Skyline right now down through the S's. We've got a dead Mustang in the fence. That's Thomas Lauder. Wait, no it isn't. Dave Roberts. Not even. Christopher Simpson in the wall. On engine. Racing lagging a little bit.
Just watching Chris Whittaker here, just on the back of this Mustang, really trying to get that draft effect that you were mentioning before. But not only that, we've got a Porsche coming through the Mustangs, 3 wide, down Conrod straight here. So see how this is going to work out.
Yeah, this is messy. This is Scott Stevens cutting back through the field after his first corner spin. He doesn't appear to have any damage, which is positive for him, but he's got a whole lot of cars to work his way through before he can rejoin the back of the rough field.
That's lucky for him that he didn't get too much damage there, but I did see him in practice, and he was actually holding really good lap times, and he was doing consistent laps, so hopefully he can get through this field no dramas at all.
Yeah, he was knocking around in the mid 208s, which is a competitive pace, with some fuel saving, some tyre saving. That's front running pace for sure. So he'll be a little bit annoyed to be back that far, but he's an experienced endurance racer, and he'll be settling in for the 90 minutes.
And then back in the Mustang field here, just at the back of it here in position 22 and 21, Mark going side by side up here into the second turn here.
That's come off the right too.
A relatively clean start so far.
I think the only spinners we've seen have been ones that have spun themselves, frankly. We saw one car in the wall.
But we do, unfortunately, have 2 Mazdas in the pits. So I'd like to see what happened to Grant Matterford and Steve Burgess there. Steve Burgess' car doesn't look too nice.
Another Mustang in the fence over the top of Skyline. It's Michael Troopers hit the wall. And he's got back going.
That's one for the Ford fans, though. You know, Ford's built tough, apparently. Got a bit of a dented fender and a buckled bonnet, but the Redback racing car is still going.
A little interested to see what's happened to Andrew Welter. He's dropped from first to fourth and just sort of jumping back through to try and find the point where he's had that issue. It looks like he's got loose out of the chase and dropped back to fourth. So he's now got to work his way all the way back to the front again from the position he's in.
Yeah, that definitely was a big drop for him there, especially the lead that he did have on the first lap. He did create that little bit of a gap for him, a little bit of breathing room, but obviously now he has a few cars he needs to get back through.
Yeah, so Shepard's pulling away significantly at this point because Welter's got Dean Ross and Desmond Hinckley sort of forming a little bit of a high-speed roadblock, and those guys are in the 209s, whereas
Shepard's doing the 208.5 in the last lap, and the three, the second, third and fourth there is 209, well, mid to high 209s. So if he keeps going on the pace he's going, it's going to get a bit of a gap.
I will say that it's so he's done the fastest lap of the race, but a lot of risk involved in this as well, and pushing this hard. He hopefully is trying to manage his pace to pull away gradually instead of rushing it, because at a track like this, that's a big risk.
Oh, definitely, and especially in a 90-minute race, you really got to pace what you're doing. Maybe he's going for a different strategy and wants to try and push away early and whatnot, but we'll see as the race unfolds.
Yeah, we were speaking before offline about the fuel strategies here and the way that the setups are done.
Oh, well, there's Dean Ross pulling into the pits already. Oh, and there's a big smash. Javen Wood up with Paul Nelson.
Oh, that's an upside-down car.
Oh, that's definitely a big smash there.
Javan's got on the dirt on his own and flipped himself. So now he's out of the race.
That was the CM Security CBR Karts replay just there of that accident. Just watching this Mustang field, it looks like a couple of them are just a little bit struggling with these cars at the moment.
Yeah, the Mustang definitely, tough to drive smoothly and cleanly. You feel like you can push it harder and it just lets go on you. Really, really tough car to drive fast and consistently, and you can see that. Edwards and Jones have checked out on everybody else now. This front two that was a front three, but Katakazinas has dropped back in recent laps and now running about 4 seconds behind. So it really looks like a two-car race right now for the Mustangs, but we're yet to hit any lap traffic, and I'm sure once that happens, it'll change the complexion of the race again.
Oh, it's good to see Steve Burgess is out there, but not only that, he's got a Roth coming up behind him. That's it, Craig Edwards is just behind them, so see how this goes. And Craig Edwards is leading the Mustang class closely. Paul Jones behind him. Paul Jones from CPR Karts, sponsor of the AMF Dev Series and obviously this race as well. You'll see his name around a lot with sim racing. He has a major influence within all that what we do. So definitely go check out CPR Cars. It doesn't matter where you are in Australia.
Yeah, he has a gigantic input into various series, including the Fiat Premier Series and this AMF series as well. And he's crushing it right now, keeping up with Craig Edwards. You know, there is over a 2,500 I rating gap between these two, and he's stuck right on the bumper of the 5K driver.
But not only that, the lap times just then, he did match it by, well, pretty close to matching it with 0.02 of a second between them two on their last lap.
Yeah, he's doing a superb job. He's lost a little bit of time through that MX-5, and I wonder now, without the impact of the draft, is this going to break the camel's back of this gap? You know, can he pull back the couple of tenths he's lost here in turn 1 as I go to the top of the mountain, or is this Craig's opportunity to stretch it?
Well, that's the thing now. But honestly, Craig's going to be feeling the pressure that Paul's there, and the slightest slip up, if they're managing very similar lap times, you know, that slightest slip up from the 27 car there, I think Paul Jones is really going to close that gap.
Yeah, no, again, it's about, you know, for Craig, does he try and extend that gap? You know, in a 90-minute race, is this the crucial point so early on, with an hour and 19 remaining, or is he happy to just tow along as a pair and drive Katakizinis and Wilson out of the race, you know, and decide this later on? Exactly.
It's 4 laps in. You know, a lot's been going through your mind there, but as we just see, Paul Jones just touching the fence out of the elbow there.
Yeah, it looks like he has trivial, if any, damage from that. Thankfully, it's a scary little fence that on the exit of the elbow. You can zero exit all you want, but if you hit it just a tiny little bit too hard, it's the end of your race.
Oh, that's it. Like, the front fender's not too bad, but the minute you get that back quarter panel there, it's just going to unsettle the car a bit, and you got to lay off, and then you lose your speed, and if not, if it doesn't spin out. So, pretty hard spot there to hit.
Yeah, and it's a tricky spot to get yourself unstuck from. I know during the Bathurst, we did the Bathurst 12 earlier in the year in the Porsche Cup car, and I came in my stint bolting down the hill into Forest Elbow and found another Cup car reversing away from the fence straight into my line of travel, which ended our race. So it's really tough. You almost get stuck having to think about towing if you're facing the wrong way there. It's just so hard to turn around with 40 plus cars on the track. There's always someone coming and you can't see.
Oh, definitely. It's just one of those things. It's, you know, luck of the draw when you're in a race car. You know, if you're going to come around there and someone's there or spun out, it's a do or die moment. You know, you're on the edge of your tyres and your grip, so if you're in the line, you're going to hit it. A little bit of 3 wide action coming down into the last corner there, Hell's corner. Murray's corner, so to say, sorry.
And Welter's
2 Porsches in the MX-5.
We've got some cars into the pits as well. We've got some of the leading roughs are in. Gregory Burke in from 3rd place. Welter in from 2nd. Shepard continuing on. So, interestingly, Shepard going another lap, and I'm just interested by whether that's a strategy decision. I mean, I would think that typically you would want to run the tank empty for this stop. You know, will only be one more stop to the end, but you still want to fill the minimum amount possible on the next stop. So I'm a little bit surprised to see Shepard, who was driving the fastest couple laps of the race earlier on, is the one that saved the fuel to get around one more time.
Yeah, definitely. He is faster. You know, 0.7 of a second faster than Andrew Welter. So, yeah, it is surprising he's still out there. He's still got the fuel. He's using it. That must be a strategy move or something he knows that we don't know. So well, it'll be good to see what happens when he actually stops.
Yeah. He's
Especially coming up against traffic with the Mustang and an MX-5, so this is going to be interesting coming into the elbow.
He's got the MX-5 Matterford without any problems, and yeah, that horsepower just last night to turn up. And one more. This is probably the tricky one. Thomas Lauder down into the elbow. He's going to catch him right as they arrive, and the brakes on that speed, he's specking up flash. He'll make it just in time.
Yeah, you got to give a shout out to Matterford there, the Grant Matterford 79 car coming into the elbow. Just he moved over, slowed down a little bit more, and gave them two boys room to get through there as well.
Yeah, he's really in the long game here, so he'll go a lap down now. 2 laps down now, sorry, and he's nearly being lapped by Chris Whitaker from FT1. He's leading the MX-5 field just about 10 seconds back down the road from him.
Well, there's Shepherd in now as well in the roughs.
So it'll be interesting to see where Dylan comes out. Last lap, 4 seconds gap ahead of Welter, as Welter came into the pit lane. So we'll see whereabouts he comes out, whether he has 4 seconds more or less, and what his gap is to some of the other rough cars.
Especially with the lap times that he's doing, and not only that, Mitchell Chapman followed him in the pits there as well.
You can see the other Ross coming round now into the straight. Going to find out shortly whether he's in front. Here comes Welter down the front straight. Welter unable to jump Hinkley in the pits, and then Shepherd's come out just ahead of Dan Ross. So Shepherd had more lane time because he went the extra lap, but a lot more lane time. 36 second stop versus 30 for Ross. 5 seconds additional in the lane, and yeah, just enormous extra lane time versus everybody except Welter. So I don't know whether there's some tyre changing going on there or what. I'm not sure if the rough tyres change simultaneously to fuel. I imagine not, but yeah, it's interesting that they would be stopped.
Definitely planning something there with an extra 5 seconds there.
Yeah, both Welter and Shepherd stopped for significant additional time. And it really seems like Welter is not happy about being stuck behind Hinkley. He's all over the back of him going across Skyline and into the other.
Yeah, he's really making his presence known there.
Shepherd blasting past another MX-5 on the way out of the elbow. And, Dean Ross got stuck behind Christopher Simpson out of the dipper and was stuck there for some time. So he's lost a little bit of that toe that he had from Shepherd, and the gap's blown out to 6/10. And I'm just wondering, is this going to be Shepherd disappearing into the distance again, or is the lap traffic and Karma going to come his way shortly?
He's definitely got the speed. He's definitely got the lap times. As long as he keeps doing that repetition, lap after lap, lap after lap, and hits them apexes and exits, I think he's gonna gain that gap. You can't say anything bad about Ross though. He's an excellent driver as well. We saw it in practice, we saw it in qualifying. He definitely knows how to hold this car around this track.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that goes to this whole front four. They have really checked out on everybody else. You've got 4 cars covered by less than 2.5 seconds, and then it's 7 seconds back to 5 seconds back to Gregory Burke in 5th place, and Pat Gallows a further 10 seconds behind him. Really significant.
Yeah, so there is some gaps. There is some gaps forming.
Yeah, but that, we got last time across the line only 2.2 separating the top 4 cars, which is turning into an epic race. Got some really awkwardly placed MX-5s here for Shepherd, and And even worse for Ross, who's had to absolutely
pretty close there. But with his advantage there, if he gets past them, it might hold up the ones behind him, so that might work to an advantage, especially through this bit of the track.
That's been horrible for Ross. He's lost 1 second to Shepherd in one corner. You know, and they need to be careful here because this is the MX5 class leader, Whitaker, and he's got as much right to the track as they do, so care required. We're not talking about a lapped car here, we're talking about another race leader. And, you know, speaking of race lead gaps, Whitaker has a significant little step on Coriot. You know, he's got that 2 second gap, so now outside of the draft, which is a real issue in the MX5.
Yeah, definitely. Even in practice, we saw that Whitaker taking that MX5 out of everyone. I think he was the one that did the most laps, the most practice laps, and the most consistent time. So it's very relative to see him where he is in this position.
Yeah, it's just going to be tough for Corey now because he has to race on lap speed. You can gain 2 seconds a lap, 3 seconds a lap here just from toe in the MX5, but once the toe breaks, once you get to that 2 second barrier and you're not getting any assistance, now you have to do it on your own and prove that you can drive at front running pace solo. So
exactly,
see what can actually pull the gap back at any point.
Well, that's the thing. He's probably thinking in his mind now. He's lost that toe. He's lost that, you know, that slipstream. So he's going to be pushing a little bit harder and taking a little bit more risks on a few corners that he shouldn't be doing. But it'd probably be one to watch just in case he does rub a couple of walls or going across the mountain there. Also, he's got to understand that he is still an MX5 Cup car. He is up against Ruffs and C-Specs, and he's up against some Mustangs. So he does have to kind of move out of the way. He's got a lot of juggle on his plate at the moment.
Yeah, and done no favours by the lapping Ruffs there. And we've got a big accident at the elbow.
Oh, we did.
Pat Gallo around. He's been hit by Mitchell Chapman.
Mitchell Chapman.
And that's a little bit of, you know, Pat Gallo is in a real rush there to get past Coriot, and not one corner later he's ended his own race with a big accident at the elbow. So, be interested to jump back and get a replay of that crash.
Even to say that, the Corey Ott situation, if you wanted to give you a little bit of a heart, more of a race, trying to push it hard and then you have a rough C-Spec spin out in front of you, you know?
Yeah, so there was a, you know, put the send on him the previous corner, and that was a little bit of one of those sort of, you know, awkward gaps. Oh,
we just seen a replay of Anderson going across that onto Skyline there, losing a bit, going across the sand and hitting the wall.
So multiple crashes on the
same place there, coming across the top there. So yeah, Nathan's definitely got that car all bent up. He's trying to make his way back to the pits there.
Yeah, having to cruise across the sand at the chase to get himself back to the pits to get that repaired. You can see now, you know, in real trouble here in terms of the gap to Whitaker is just getting bigger after that lap, after he had a bit of a tough time being lapped. And
yeah, that's a 2.5 second, isn't it? Yeah, gap there, if not more.
Yep, so
there's Anderson pulling into the pits now, so hopefully he can get that back out.
1.5 seconds in one lap there, Coriot, and I think he, you know, maybe in some real trouble here in terms of capacity to catch back up.
Just watching this battle between well, not so much of a battle, this gap that's growing between Shepherd and Ross. I think Shepherd's just saw he's got the tunnel vision on. He's going from apex to apex, and that's all he's doing at the moment. He's gapping at the moment with Ross.
Yeah, he's checked out at the front, and Welter has also got around Hinkley and checked out from him. So the gap's grown from a 2-second spread for those lead cars to a 12-second spread in the last few laps.
Just as Welter gets it out a little bit on the grass, just at the end of the straight there, coming through the chase. So obviously he's showing a little bit of pressure trying to get back up the front there. He's pushing a little bit harder.
Yeah, pushing very, very hard. And something has happened on this previous lap. He's done it 2:13 on his last time through versus 2:09 for Shepherd and Ross. So not sure what went wrong there with Welter while we were checking out those MX-5s, but he's now got a lot of work to do. He's got 8 seconds to pull back to Dean Ross. Still a long time remaining in the race, over an hour. Not even at the half-hour mark, so 8 seconds in an hour and 5 minutes is not the end of the world, particularly if you can find that 5 seconds of pit lane time that went missing in the first stop.
Yeah, I think something's gone wrong there. I just did I looked back through the replay for the last lap there, but he did blink for a good 10 or so seconds, so something might have happened. That's what's gave him that 2:13 lap time.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I mean, he and Hinkley are, significantly gapped now, but he's certainly pulling Ross back over this lap, and maybe not so much Shepherd, but if he can position himself in second, and certainly, an hour to go at Bathurst, there's not a guarantee of a victory at all, even with the gap Shepherd is starting to establish. So.
Oh, and there's Ross there, just having to touch the grass a little bit, going around Oliver Fulton, just coming out of the elbow. Nothing major, but a driver like Ross, I think he can handle that.
Yeah, for sure. I think this situation is the one that worries me with the rough, is trying to stop it for the chase here when you're lapping a car. The brakes on that thing are just really not fun to use.
Going up the inside of dial there.
Yeah, it really drives like a Porsche. You've got to lift in the kink there and then step on the pedal and try not to lock everything up. And he did a fantastic job of that, but it's certainly not a car that it particularly rewards rough driving or errors. And you certainly want to nail your brake.
If it handles anything like a Porsche, then the understeer is going to be a major issue. Pity to see Matterford in the MX-5. He's actually in the pit there. He was a really good driver.
We've got a Katakzinus is dead at turn 2 right now. That Mustang is destroyed. Oil smoke pouring from the engine. He's made a mistake while lapping an MX-5, got back on the throttle too hard and put it in the wall. That car is completely cactus. And I don't know if I drive it back, he is. I'm surprised that it's functioning at this point.
Just watch that replay. He slid out a little bit. Slid out a little arse in there, and MX-5 just tipped it and he's put it in the wall. Cool, he's a really good driver too.
Yeah, Katakzinus was really going well in the Mustang there. He was sitting sort of 4 seconds off the lead, knocking away in third place, huge gap to Wilson and Dial, and now he's looking at a significant amount of pit lane time to get that sorted out. And certainly a long drive down the mountain with bent steering and a bent car.
Must admit he is driving it back, so that's good. He does want to give up, but he is actually staying out of the way of the other cars. He is a seasoned driver. He knows how to handle these kind of situations, so hopefully he gets back to the pits, fix that car, and get back out on track.
Yeah, the benefit here is he's probably not much more hazardous to anyone than an MX-5 is. The Roster will be surprised to catch a Mustang that quickly, but his pace isn't so awful that he really presents a danger. So, able to crawl it back. No safety car, which is good.
We're just trying to find the moment. I just heard from race control there, Pat Gallo's given a 10-second penalty for causing a collision.
I'm not sure if that was a consequence. We've got a Mustang around. Alistair Whelan in the RPR Mustang has dropped it at turn 2. Same spin as Katakizinas, so almost identical spin to Katakizinas. So that's clearly a weakness of the Mustang, that particular spot.
Very lucky how he sat on he hit the escape button there, or he asked to go back and get towed. That's not a really good position to sit. Sideways, just out of out of the second corner. Good for spin.
Yeah, and he was lucky when Katakizinas in that it appeared to damage his car less, but he was unlucky in that he was oriented in such a way that he couldn't back across the track and had to get towed.
What we're going to do is we're just going to pull in some race control and just have a chat with them. Hi there, Ryan.
Hey, gentlemen, Steve, Alex.
Welcome to the commentary box.
Hello.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we just saw one of the first penalties for the race there. That was Pat Gallo there, 10 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah, 10-second stop and hold penalty that he could add on to his pit stop. He had a bit of a spin up in the mountain about a lap ago, and he was in a pretty horrible spot, but he reversed back onto the track and reversed straight into the path of a coming Mustang. That was car 022, Sal Galenti. So we deemed it, look, it's a horrible place to try and do it, so we can understand what Pat was doing, but he still needs to be penalised for it, so we figured a 10-second added time penalty to his pit stop was probably the least penalty we could give him.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of them tricky situations when your nose up against the wall and you've had that spin and you're trying to get back out, but reversing is probably not the best option, especially at Bathurst.
You're definitely not up on top of the hill.
Oh, definitely. So how's this series anyway, Ryan? While you're in here, we might as well have a chat about the series.
Yep, so for people who don't know, AMF was started by Justin Cotterill, one of the other admins, about 5 years ago, because he couldn't find any good racing on Iracing, and let's face it, sometimes officials not the nicest place to race. So he created AMF, and I found it about 2 years ago and really enjoyed the racing, and then I think everything kind of just went from there, and we started talking about a GT3 series, and now that's really taken off.
Yeah, that is. It's really gathering some ground at the moment, especially how I found it as well. That it's really getting a lot of traction. And you do a Monday night as well, don't you?
Yes, so Monday night was the original AMF series, and we do a little bit of everything, hence the name AMF, Aussie Mixed and Fixed. So we do a mixture of road racing, oval racing, and then sometimes we just throw some really random things in just for a bit of fun.
Yeah, why not? That's what sim racing's about. It's having fun and learning and having a mateship with the community.
Well, that's it. Like the Monday night series is really based around, a lot of us guys never knew each other prior to it, and we've all become really good friends because of that series, and really gone forward with our sim racing because of that.
Yeah, cool. So I actually have the schedule in front of me. We actually have 12 races coming up soon, starting next week. Is it?
Yes, so next Monday night, so not Monday tomorrow, but the following Monday, our 12-week series starts. So we run our 12-week series in line with iRacing's 12-week series. And we've got a little bit of everything in there. even some really random stuff. I think later on in the series we've got the Cadillacs at Bristol, just for something really different.
Yeah, something interesting, something different, something not the norm with iRacing. It's always good to have something. And we have the GT3 Dev Series, coming up, and we've got 3 endurance rounds. Is that right?
Yep, so the GT3 Dev Series starts up on next Sunday. We run every Sunday night. Again, we follow the Iracing 12-week series. Our track lists, we follow the VRS Sprint series. And of those 3 races, we will do, so standard race is 45 minutes with a mandatory pit stop, and we will have 3 endurance races, which are 80 minutes with a mandatory pit stop.
The number one that stuck out to me was week 6, the endurance at the new track, Bella Isle. How do you think that's going to go?
I'm unsure at the moment, but I wanted 3 endurance rounds, and I really like the idea of Zolder and Zandvoort as both being endurance rounds. And I really couldn't pick any of the other ones in between. Like the ones in between, they've all been done. It was Suzuka and Spa, and we've all done that a million times. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different and throw in the brand new track.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a winner right there, Bella Isle. Driven that track the other day, it's very talented in a GT3 car. I think that was going to be a hit. Week 6 is something to look out for.
Yes, yeah, it should be good fun. But the biggest thing we try to promote in our GT3 series is fair, clean racing, which is why we have live race control, so that issues can be sorted out straight away. And we're about to start our 4th season, so I think it shows that I think we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, certainly. It's grown a lot, hasn't it? You've got sort of 5 of the top sort of 15 guys from the OSC Oceanic Sprint Championship are racing in the Dev Series in the Pro class, sort of demonstrating that you're covering everything from the beginning all the way up. And I've certainly noticed it provides a really good opportunity for some of these guys who are new to iRacing or new to GT3s to ask some questions, to see the difference in the driving style and where they might be losing time.
That's exactly right. We call it a development series, not because we're only accepting rookie drivers to develop them, but we accept the top drivers as well, because what we've noticed is a lot of the top drivers are very, very happy to give up their time to help the younger drivers and the learning drivers in the practice sessions leading up to the races.
I'm actually just going to jump in there because Dean Ross is pointing the wrong way from 2nd place in the race. He's stuck Andrew Welter managing to get by him. He's just done a spin turn in the dipper and got going again. Positional change at the front of the race, and he's lost himself a good 10, 15 seconds there. Out of contention suddenly.
Yeah, he's had a moment trying to avoid another car bottle.
Very unlucky for him. He was a solid drive tonight as well. Hopefully he can get that sorted and try and come back.
Thankfully, in a pretty clear part of the track, you're able to sort of turn himself around safely. So he didn't lose as much time as he could have, and waited for Andrew to come by before he's tried to right that. So the
and another thing while Ryan's in here, I must as a previous driver to the AMF Dev Series, I must admit that the whole class, not so much the classes, the rookie, the amateur and the pro, the fixed setups really make it an even playing field and take that weight off some of the rookie shoulders.
That was where we kind of aimed at it. A lot of us who started this series, and there's more than just me and Justin in the background who helped create this, we'd raced in GT3 series before that were not iRacing official, like they were hosted series, but they were open, and you just found that the top guys would just run away with the race, and you felt like it was like, well, what's the point of racing? And we feel that the fixed setup really levels the playing field, and it keeps the racing a lot tighter.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think it gives you that motivation that the top drivers, the guy in first position in a 488 Ferrari, and if you're racing in a 488 Ferrari thinking, okay, I need to learn from this guy because we're on the same setups here, we can't use that as an excuse no more.
Yep. Yeah, so it does come down to driver ability. And yeah, the fixed setups, it's all about levelling the playing field. So yeah, everyone seems to enjoy it. Look, fixed setups don't always work for every single driving style, but as a whole, they seem to work quite well.
Some tracks they don't work for that track, but they work for the next one. That's how the racing goes, you know.
Exactly right, and that kind of plays into hand with the new endurance series that we've got coming up, which starts on Saturday. Actually, you look at the Audi and the Porsche in the LMP1 class, and those two cars could not be more different from each other in the way in which they get around a racetrack. You know, the Audi is incredibly good through the corners, but is just lacking a lot of straight line speed, whereas the Porsche probably isn't as fast through the corners, even though, look, it's an LMP1 car, they've got downforce for miles, but the Porsche is insane in straight line, so you'll probably see it at tracks like Le Mans, the Porsche will run away with it, but at tracks like, say, maybe Suzuka, the Audi will have a field day.
Yeah, exactly, but I do agree with what you're doing at AMF and the Dev series and all the series you're running, and you and the guys, they marvellous job even putting this race together. It's just a mixed bag of cars. I think it's making iRacing, it's bringing the fun back to it, and the community's going to thank you for it.
Oh, I appreciate it. And these week 13 things, especially seeing how much of a hit this one has been, and we have done a few in the past, but not as regular. We will continue to put one together every week 13 coming forward, and we're going to make it different every time. The plan's to do something really different every single time we do it. You never know, you may even see a mixed class oval race in the future.
Hey, that'd be interesting. That'd be very interesting.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much for the time. I'm going to jump back in the comments box with the guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
You guys have a good rest of the call.
No worries, mate. You jump back in there and watch the race, and hopefully nothing too major happens, and thanks for joining us in here.
Always, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
So meanwhile, at the front of the MX5 field, we just talked about how Chris Whittaker was running away with the race, and at this point we're looking at a 3-car train, Whittaker, Blackburn and Ott. So as a consequence of the MX5 pit stops, everyone back together, and this could be, this is really interesting. I'm not sure if there's been, I'd imagine no one's chosen to change tyres on that car, but certainly the fuel fill has appears to have had an impact on the order here, where Blackburn's made up a ton of time.
Yeah, definitely. I was just watching that as we were talking to Ryan there, with Whittaker, you know, still in the lead obviously, and then you've got you know, Blackburn getting through there, and then Corey Ott just tagging on the end of them, just trying to get that slipstream, is just keeping the pace for them.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we've seen Whittaker's got the best lap in the MX5 field, and actually he doesn't now. Blackburn does.
No, Blackburn does with a 2:31.7. So
whether that's come in the toe of Whittaker or on his own is interesting, but Whittaker did just overtake Blackburn, and so I'll be interested to see whether these two keep up, Ott and Blackburn, because we were just talking before, you know, the draft here can be a couple of seconds a lap, and if they're able to stay in contact over the top of the mountain here, they'll just tow back on down Conrad Straight, and we'll be back to square one again. A lot of work for Whittaker to pull enough gap to actually get away in this class.
yeah, but even there, just watching the race there, just Whittaker just pulling a little bit away through Solomon Park, but and then coming through the dipper there, Blackburn's back on him. So there might be a little bit of difference of driving here. So we'll see. We'll see if we'll see if Whittaker can just get a little bit of gap and break that slipstream from him.
Yeah, and, real issue for him is he needs 1.5 seconds, you know, in one section across the top. I mean, he's going to get towed back, you know, up the straight to turn 2, and he's going to get towed back down Conrad, and so he needs to pull significant time across the top of the mountain for this to be effective. You can see the guys definitely right now just vacuuming him up down Conrad Straight.
Yeah, well, that's it, and this is where the multi-class races come into account. Just, it's going to be one of them corners that someone's going to be coming around in a C-spec or something like that, and you'll just have to go a little bit wide. And second place, or Corey Ott down there in third, it has to go a little bit wide. He's going to lose that second and that draft.
Yeah, and we saw the impact that had on Ott before, where he was happily sitting in Whittaker's slipstreams for the first 25 minutes, and then as soon as that Mustang ran him wide into turn 2 and spun in front of him, it was game over from his perspective. He was unable to catch back up, and only if anything able to match Whittaker's pace, and without the draft, it was he just started to slip backward. You can see again, Tyler Blackburn's just turned the vacuum cleaner on up straight.
Yeah, you can just see him. He closes that gap. He gets that gap, and Whittaker gets a couple of good corners, and then Blackburn's right on him. He's closing that gap. So it would be good to see. Well, obviously you saw the last light time there. The Racing Oz driver here. He's really giving it to him. So no doubt Whittaker is feeling the pressure there and trying to do his best to get out in front and not make any mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see, like, again, over the top here, Whittaker pulling away, inching the gap through this fast section, and it's just on Tyler Blackburn to stay close enough at this point to use that toe again. And this, you can approach this in a couple of ways. I mean, first of all, if a guy's faster than you, obviously it lets you keep up, but if you do have the pace, this is a potential opportunity to fuel save. We've talked about how this car fills in cans instead of one smooth fill. So if you can avoid taking the break between cans for that third tin on your last stop, you're going to be significantly better off.
Yeah, definitely. And I just got to put out a mention. Just looking at the timing screen here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dylan Shepherd has a 24-second lead on Andrew Walter.
Yeah, it does look like that's the case. So, and 1 second quicker than Welter last lap. He's just pulling out 1 second a lap, 2 seconds a lap every time around. Hinkley through the stops now, so we'd be expecting Shepherd and Welter in very, very soon, I think.
Well, Walter's just finished crossing over the start-finish line, while Dylan Shepherd is just going into Griffin's Bend.
Yeah, and in fact, I've claimed that Hinkley and Burke have stopped, but I don't believe they're in the lane. They have just fallen back 48 seconds. Sure, something's going.
Yeah, definitely something's going wrong.
So Hinkley and Burke are now coming across the start-finish, and Shepherd's up at the top of the track in McPhillamy. So really interested about what's transpired while we've been watching his MX-5s. I mean, I don't think anyone's had a spin, but Shepherd's checking out from the field. Welter's checked out from Hinkley and Burke, and the rough field is just spread right around the track. Yeah,
and let's go to the Mustangs here. Craig Edwards still in the lead. Paul Jones behind him, but not too close at the moment. So it looks like Edwards has just checked out a little bit, and he's put some gap on Paul Jones there. That's that little bit of a race that were having before.
Yes, Paul Jones in the CPR Karts car was absolutely all over the back of Edwards, and I was remarking on how impressive that was given their rating difference. And seems like Edwards' consistency has got the better of that and snuck him away there. I'm not sure if that small amount of panel damage to Paul Jones's car is causing him any issues of significance, but he's still running super strong in second place, and significant gap to James Wilson. So something on the order of 5 seconds there.
Yeah, there is 4 seconds between first and second, and there's a 5 second. How many times did I just say second? 5 seconds between second and third. So they're running pretty consistent gaps here.
Yeah, am I right in thinking that this Mustang field appears to be spaced by 5 seconds the whole way down? It's like they're
it does.
deliberately doing that.
Yeah, they're all like 5 seconds apart, but it seems a lot the first, second and third have that front right fender damage, so that there must be a consistency through the field here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they've just all clobbed the fence at one time or another, and certainly, you know, it seems to be that Forestdale, that exit where that wall just comes back at you much faster than you expect.
Yeah, that was a Paul Jones a few laps ago, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Mustangs will be clipping that. It's really hard to hold that car in on corner exit, just very, very skatey. That wall's very easy to hit at the best of times. So.
There's Craig Edwards coming across Skyline now, and he was just holding Wood up in the C-spec coming down, and he's still holding him up a little bit. I don't think Wood's just going to pass him just yet. I think he's playing the safety card.
Yeah, Wood last of the running roughs with some really significant damage on that rear left quarter. I think he's just taking his time to get around. He knows Edwards is the leader. Wood actually just finished his first series of GTF and done pretty well from my understanding. In fact, he's the rookie champion, so he's certainly heading towards having great pace in the future if he doesn't already, and one to watch next season.
Yeah, well, that's right. Even looking at the Mustang that we were looking at, and between the race between Craig Edwards and Paul Jones there, Craig Edwards was actually the pro driver who won the AMF Dev Series.
Yeah, and he dominated as well. He won by quite a significant amount of points in the end, ahead of Andrew Welter, I think, in the second.
Yeah, so surprising he's actually in a Mustang tonight and not actually the rough, giving these boys up the front a little bit of pressure. I think he's going the safe bet. I'm going to go in a Mustang and I'll take out that category too.
Yeah, he is one for spreading it around. He's typically a prototype driver, but not racing this season in the in any endurance championships. So consequently, spending some time in these AMF races. He's starting the Dev Series. Yet to hear from him whether he's racing next season or not. But here he is in the Week 13 event, trying out the Mustang, and I'm not sure he's driven it much before, so he's doing well if he hasn't. It's a tricky car to learn.
That's right. And just while we were talking, then even Javon Wood just coming around the Hell's Corner there. Just lost the rear end a bit. I know he's travelling back in the field in the roughs, but that damage must be causing him a little drama, because he did actually spin it around on the first corner, and at least he's holding onto it and he's getting out the way. He got out the way of Welter, so he didn't cause any dramas. But hopefully his race comes good.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it being really tough to drive this car consistently, and for a newer driver it's probably a bit tricky to keep it going for the full 90 minutes without an incident or two, and then once you add some damage in, it sort of compounds the situation, doesn't it? Your car gets harder and harder to drive, and you speed more and more and you get more and more damage, and
it is Bathurst. Come on, we've all sat in a V8 around here. Anyone that's got Iracing has sat in a V8, and we know how dangerous, and the littlest movement offline would cause a lot of dramas. So, you do a 90-minute race and you can make it to the end. That's a feat in its own.
So we've finally had Shepard through the pits, and he's only done 17 seconds stop this time, so not a full tank required to get to the finish at this point, with only 36 minutes to go. It's about half a fill. And he's only come out 5 seconds behind Welter. So he I don't want to say it at this point, but some would curse him and suggest that he has it wrapped up. He certainly got nearly a full pit stop advantage on the next driver at this point, and carving up the lap traffic as he goes up, and just getting held up by Anthony Adshed in the MX-5, and he's moved over as soon as he can. And off goes Shepherd again. He may have... he'll have Welter in his sights down Conrad here. You can see him already over the top of the mountain. Welter's held up behind Christopher Simpson in the Mustang, and Shepherd is just barreling up behind them.
I was just watching there. There was a few unmentioned names tonight. I know we've mentioned a few of the rough drivers and stuff. But I was just watching Dale Codling. He was behind a couple of Mustangs there, and he was just taking it nice. He's a bit lower in the order, but you gotta respect the really clean, safe drivers,
Yeah, I mean, these guys are doing all these guys in their roughs are doing a good job. We've seen one accident from a rough all race. Pat Gallo's unfortunate spin at the cutting. And other than that, it's been, perfectly sensible from their end, considering the pace of the cars they're driving. You'd think you'd have seen a few more scary sends or whatever as Dale Codling does go 3 wide up Mount Straight. But
I just saw that going around the MX-5 and Mustang at one time.
Yeah, but I think he had the space and had the speed, so why not? And he certainly managed to get it stopped in time. But apart from those couple of incidents, this rough field has been really superb. Seen nothing in the way of accidents from Welter, Shepherd, Burke, Hinkley, Chapman. Ross, small spin, but nothing much to speak of.
Definitely, and that's the thing. With the broadcast, it's really hard to pinpoint. And I'm trying to go through the field here and see who's got these clean cars and who's really done a decent job of driving. And as you said, Chapman's done a really good job, Codling's done a really good job, McQueen as well, but Wood having a really hard run tonight. I know he's got it. He's a really good driver. I have been in races with him, and I know he's really got it in him. It's one of these things. You either have a good race or a bad race.
Yeah, I think for Javan, it's a big step up from that GT3 car as well. Without the ABS, with the rear engine, it's just harder to drive this car and at a track like this. For a newer guy, I think he'll get the grips with it over the course of the race, and I'm sure we'll see better pace from him at the end of the race. And if we see another series of the C-Spec, he'll have it together much more. We'll say one car that isn't straight right now is Grant Matterford, who's had a monster accident at McPhillamy, straight into the wall at Skyline.
Yeah, I was just watching that.
Up on the curb and into the barrier.
Pity for him, he is a real respectful driver. He does have really good racecraft and respect for other people on the track. So I hate to see that to him.
Yeah, it's a bit tragic. Already had an accident earlier on and was 10 laps down on the MX-5 field, so that's pretty much put paid to his evening. He's in the pits receiving his tow and repairs currently, and Welter coming through the pit lane now, so he relinquishes the lead to Shepherd.
Let's see his stop. Let's see his stop time and see what happens here.
And he's going to require more lane time slightly less lane time than Shepherd.
Yeah, that was a 15.5 stop. A 34.2 lane time.
He'll be narrow on fuel for narrower on fuel than Shepherd, I think. He's gone 2 extra laps and stopped for 2 less seconds, so it's a significant amount less fuel. It's probably, approaching 10 litres less fuel.
Yeah, just hearing from chat there that Welter had a spin on the previous lap. Stan just wrote it in the YouTube chat there.
Yeah, 2:15. So we might go back and grab a replay of that. In the meantime, he's solidified his position in second, even if he is now 35 seconds behind Dylan Shepherd. He's running third presently with Gregory Burke yet to stop. Gregory Burke 10 seconds off the road, and you would think would have to be in this lap.
Definitely. Got to say about Welter though, oh yeah, just coming out the elbow, he's just had a bit of a spin there. And just, you know, pass into the wall. Not too bad there. But I must say, his little Matrix looking car there.
It's just his name all over it. Many times. He had his whole race suit and helmet as well.
Oh, that's classic. That's how you go. See if his list here says privateer. No, sponsoring himself here. But I must admit, for the race that it is, I think that the quality of the drivers tonight have been really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen very few issues with lap cars. We've seen very few issues with accidents in general. We've seen some close racing, and we'll check back in on that MX5 race in a moment. We've got Gregory Burke in the lane right now, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out relative to Chapman, Ross, and Hinckley, who's running with Hinckley earlier. So, although these cars slipped back down a little bit from where they were running at the front before. It's going to come out somewhere around here, I think, maybe a little bit in front. And to give you some perspective on how short Welter's stop was, Hinckley's at 18.3 seconds in the box versus Welter 15.5, and Hinckley Burke stopped a lap later. So Welter must be incredibly skinny on the field.
Definitely.
Interesting to see how he gets that home. I can only assume he's gonna. I don't think he'll have issues saving the fuel he needs if he does need it, because he does have a significant gap. Mitchell Chapman still left to stop, so realistically looking at 6 seconds to Dean Ross, but
definitely the person to mention is Shepherd's up the road. You know, he's done his 2 pit stops. He's up the road. He's 38 in front.
Yeah, I mean, he's just completely hasn't he?
That's borderline hashtag alien status right there. He's doing a superb job.
Yeah, you know, this is one of these cars where Shepherd, I think, drives in one of the Porsche Cup series.
So he's used to the car, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's quite used to this style of car, and it really is a skill that's not particularly transferable to other vehicles. It's somewhat like the V8 supercar in that, you know, you see guys who dominate in the V8 series, qualify top 10 in the Premier Series, will come to the OEC, where my team spends some time, and you know, they just won't have the same pace they have in the V8, and similarly, you know, some of these guys from the Porsche Cup will come to GT3 or the V8 series and struggle, but in the Porsche they're frighteningly fast, and it looks like the case for Shepherd right now. He is just rushing the field.
Well, that's it. The Porsche's, you know, the Porsche's in a whole level on its own. You know, go grab one of them and go do a VLN. You know, 4 hours of driving a Porsche around the Nürburgring is a feat in its own. And if you can keep it straight and combat the, how would I say, the weight transfer and the understeer of that car, you know, you can do it in backwards.
Yeah, I mean, that's alright. Certainly the Nürburgring's a good prep for Bathurst. It's about 10 times the length of difficulty of going across the top of the mountains. So,
well, that's it. You know, Bathurst has 23 corners, and last time I checked, it was 86 at the Nürburgring. So there's a massive difference in that. But the time behind the wheel is going to give you some. It is going to give you some retrospect on how to drive the car. But the rough's a little bit different. I find the rough is a little bit different, and even though that Iracing has 4 different models of it, you know, the C spec is actually the race spec that's been toned down a bit, non-turbo, naturally aspirated, you know, 6-cylinder, 3.8 litre, 324 kilowatt, if you'd want to know in Aussie numbers. So, yeah, it has the power.
Yeah, this is the, you know, we don't have the Porsche license right now, but we need a cup car, attempt at a cup car by Iracing, and they do now have the cup car, so this is deprecated by Iracing in the official series, but there's a small collection of people out there who absolutely love this thing, and maybe Dylan's one of those, because he's just crushing it right now. I mean, he's still within 7/10 of his fastest lap. Yet to see him take tyres.
Well, definitely. Look at the last laps. Look at Dylan Shepherd at 2:09.2, and the last lap from Andrew Welter was a 2:15.7.
Yeah, I mean, he has to have had an issue. I'm going back now to just see if he's had a.
I've watched him.
Or just traffic. He's just stuck behind Mustangs. That's what
yeah.
All the way across the top of the mountain, completely stuck behind the Mustang.
Was no fault of anything. He's got traffic and he can't make his way through.
In fact, he's pulled out from behind the Mustang and found an MX-5 and had to hit the brakes down Conrad. So really in trouble, because Mitchell Chapman and Dean Ross are just seconds behind. They're on top of him now. Going up the mountain. They're right up together. And I think, you know, is this a situation where Welter's realised he doesn't have enough fuel? Mitchell Chapman's still yet to stop, unbelievably.
Yeah, he's only had one pit stop.
Just perplexed how that car has any fuel left in it at all.
Well, let's see what Welter does between, well, obviously out of the elbow, behind Dial here.
He has to be careful with Mark Dial as well, in that Redback car, who's, you know, running in 6th in the Mustang class and doing a good job, and they've got hooked up on each other. So Welter in significant trouble. Chapman's had to brake as well.
Well, there's Chapman, and Ross goes past.
He's going to go 2 for 1 here, as he's got Welter on the outside of him. And
yeah, definitely Dean Ross making his way through the field with a smile on his face on that one. He just got 2.
Straight around, we'll see if he can hold on to it, and he has.
Oh, he's done well.
So now the question is whether Welter can fight back when we're not sure if he's needing to save fuel.
Well, there's Chapman going into the pits now.
So Chapman finally taking his stop, and that'll bring him out somewhere around Des Hinkley.
Oh, Ross has gone a bit wide round Murray's corner, and Welter's getting it back. Here's the race up to Griffin's Bend between Ross and Welter. How's this going to pan out? Welter has the inside line, but...
And we've got an accident on Conrad with 2 roughs being wiped out. Christopher
That's the one between Simpson, yeah.
Yeah. Simpson, unfortunately, like, guesses wrong on moving out of the way of a rough, gets rear-ended by Hinkley, and then Paul Nelson cleans him up, and they're both absolutely destroyed. Both those cars are wrecked.
Just as you were saying that, just as you were saying about that crash there, I was just watching the Welter Ross thing. 2 wide through Griffins, all the way up to the cutting, and then Welter got stuck behind an MX-5. Absolutely brilliant driving from these 2.
Yeah, so as Roster on the MX-5 nearly clobbers it. And that was Blackburn, who's back down running in 5th in the MX-5s at this point, but Welter and Ross. Still thrashing. We've got another rough around. So after we've talked, it's Mitchell Chapman this time just coming out of the pit lane, and that's got to be a full fuel issue. He's come out of the pits on full tanks, totally different car balance, and just spun it at the
cold tyres. He's too comfortable there, and thought that's what it was like still.
This MX-5 situation has done what we'd spoken about earlier, where Whittaker's broken the draft, and Coriotti is now a long way behind.
Yeah, 10 seconds behind. But you got to give props to Whittaker. He's run perfect race so far. He's in his pace and he's in his element, and that's it. And as I talk about him, he's pulling him to the pits. But yeah, well done.
Yeah. So in spite of having Coriotti swarm him all race and use his draft, he's he's managing to stretch that gap every time, and if he can continue to do that for the last 20 minutes, he's going to win the race. And just the final question here is going to be what's going to happen as a result of these pit stops. How much fuel has he used? How much does he need?
Well, that's it. When he came into the pits, Corey was 40 seconds behind. So he's done a 21.9 second stop. Let's see what happens. Is Corey going to get that draft back?
So here he comes out of the lane now, and Corey is not going to get the draft back. So still probably 3-4 seconds behind. And that's going to be, if Chris doesn't stuff this up, that's going to be the race for him at this point with 20 minutes left. That gap is an unassailable lead in an MX-5.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, in an MX-5, you're flat to the floor. You're giving it everything you got. You can see the arse end of the car, and you just cannot catch it. And that's what's going to make mistakes when, Coriot's a good driver. He has his moments and whatnot. But that's where it's going to push you to the limit. Can I grab a little bit more? Where is he slower than me? Where can I grab that little tenth of a second?
The lap trip, avoiding getting caught by roughs in the wrong place and Mustangs in the wrong place, it's all going to come into it. But
exactly right. Where do I have to move over?
Going to be tough to get that back. And jumping through the field here, we've got also back to the rough. Scott Stevens crawling over the back of Mitchell Chapman. So you remember Scott spun it out of turn one at the start of the race and has had to make his way all the way back through all of the cars, and now up to fifth in the roughs.
Yep, but not only that, he's got Greg Burke behind him that actually was pole sitter in practice for a considerable amount of time. He had the top spot or the top lap time. So hopefully these guys close the gap, and even if, as you're saying, Scott's catching up. Look at him, he's on the back.
Yep, he's all over the back of Mitchell Chapman right now. So it's been a long drive back for the FSR driver. He's going to have a go into turn one.
Oh, he backed out of it there, but that was a good help from Schultz there, giving Chapman a little bit of a slowdown. So Stevens benefited from that. But he's going to get the drag up, and let's see what he does.
Yeah. And they're closing right up on this Mustang too, so this is going to come into play.
Oh, Davis might be in the way here. No, Stevens is going to go up the inside, and Davis is going to move over. Look at that for racecraft. Brilliant.
Well done by
Stephen Davis. Well done.
Stephen Davis, yeah.
A lot of respect there. I'm watching his mirrors there. This is what I'm talking about tonight, the quality of the drivers tonight. Even the names that some of them, most of them that you would see in races that you would jump into, even a few of them that you wouldn't, the racecraft of these guys is actually excellent. And how they've drove tonight, we've had an easy job,
absolutely.
There's not many crashes, there's a few spins here and there, but that's the cars. you know, the Mustang, the MX-5, and the Rough is not easy cars to drive. And if you think that's wrong by me saying an MX-5 Cup car is not easy to drive, I think you should go and do 90 minutes in a rough car around Bathurst and see how you come out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to. It's not an easy experience, and potentially not an enjoyable one if you're in defence constantly. So I'll steer clear of that. But these guys are doing a good job of it, and just, you know, back up the front here with Welter and Ross. Shepherd is pushing up on a 1 minute lead, but these two have got a great fight going on. Welter continuing to lead Ross by as little as half a second right now, and Ross is swarming him, and I'm still sceptical about this fuel situation for Welter. He's had the shortest stop of any of the Russ in this last stop by a significant margin. And, well, as I say that, Ross has got issues and he's dropped some time, but...
Just as that's going on, sorry to interrupt, I'm just saying about this, Stevens and... Chapman and Stevens here. Stevens just got a little bit wide and got a little bit tail happy coming out of the chase there. Chapman benefited from it, and now the position has switched again. Yeah,
we're back to square one for Scott, and he's going to get back past, and they're in some heavy traffic right now. They've just passed 3 Mustangs, and there we go. Huge benefit for Chapman as he blows by that Mustang of Thomas Lauder, and you know, Scott having to wait through the whole chase. And this is going horribly wrong for Scott Stevens as he catches David Roberts at the wrong time, coming up over the top of the hill. And that gap has exploded between Stevens and Chapman. It's gone out by a second in just a couple of corners.
We've got some massive competitions going on, or little battles going on here. You know, fourth and fifth, we've got first and second, and for some reason now, I'm hearing that maybe Paul Jones, I'll have to check it, Paul Jones is moving forward here. Don't quote me on it yet.
So, I mean, Craig Edwards still leading up at the top of Mountain Straight, and Paul Jones coming out of turn 1, but
I think he's closing slowly.
I think at this point, probably not going to bring him back. But I tell you who is in a fight is Dial and Turner at the down into the chase. There's 3 Mustangs, Lauder, a lap Mustang. Dial's off the track, and the position's going to change. So Dial overtaken by Turner. They're being lapped by Ruffs. They're lapping their own class. We've got NX5 in there as well. So Turner's by. Dial now has to try and catch back up.
Gregory Burke down in 6th. He held out so much in practice, so well in qualifying. Well, he did so much of a good job. I had really good expectation from him today, and to see him in 6th, I feel really bad for him. He had the pace. He really did have the pace, and he really had the car control. He did a lot of laps. I'm surprised to see him in 6th.
Yeah, just because he'd be struggling at this point down in the 214s. I don't know if it's the tyre that's causing him the issues, or the lap traffic, or what it is. But you know, if he had the pace in practice, he seems to have lost it at this point, and you know, struggling to make any inroads on Stevens and Chapman, who continue to run in the half a second apart.
Another one down the back, Galenti. Number card number 22, CM Security sponsored. You know, CM Security that sponsors us. You know, I'm surprised to see him that far down as well.
Sal was running 3rd at one stage, and this is another guy who's rocketed through the field of the GT3 Dev Series, coming from rookie now to potentially even pro next season, although don't quote me. But you know, Sal has gone from a beginner to really very quickly, and at some point was, for the first half of this race was running top 3 in the Mustangs, and obviously
he qualified fourth. He qualified fourth.
Yeah, and now all the way back to second last of the running Mustangs. So a little bit perplexed as to what's happened to Sal, but he's got speed, but not tonight. Not had a good night this season.
Yeah, I think that's it. He's used up, the moments when you practice too much and you qualify too much. I think you've used all your talent before the race.
Talent's gone before the race.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. With the CM security badge on the back of the car, we've got to give him props because one of our sponsors, CM Security, if you're in Queensland, check them out. Check out the website. Qualifying fourth and coming into a race like this, now he's down in 12th. I feel bad for him because he has that, obviously he has that talent to get up there.
Yeah, and after Katakuzunis had his accident, Galenti was into third for a significant amount of time, but evidently also had a crash and now running behind Katakuzunis again. 4 laps down on the leaders, a lap down on Edwards, and in fact there's only 3 Mustangs on the lead Mustang lap at this point. Is that accurate? Certainly appears that way. Meanwhile, Stevens back past Chapman, so the battle continues.
Yeah, he is. Stevens is in front of Chapman.
Yeah, and big toe up now in the straight for that overtake, utilising a Mustang and making a really nice pass. And did Chapman just clip the wall there? And that side of that rough is looking really, really
considering Chapman had a really, really clean car for so much of a time. That left-hand side of the car doesn't look like it's going to buff out.
I think that is definitely, even with some good quality cut and polish, that's going nowhere. So I'd say that he's going to be struggling now with potentially a little bit of loss of top speed, potentially a little bit of 45-degree steering. We're all familiar with that. When you dig your car up against a concrete wall, it doesn't do much for your alignment. So,
well, that's it. For the next 8 minutes or 7.5 minutes, these boys are going to flat tack it, and the Chapman and Stevens battle is going good. So we've got 4 laps to watch what's going to unfold. Okay, clearly, Shepard's got a 57-second lead on Welter, but Ross is closing in. So we'll see what happens within that in the 4 laps, and then Scott, the Stevens and Chapman, they're really playing for 4th position because they're not going to make the time up. So we've definitely got to Shepard up the first, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, and he hasn't made a mistake all night, so hopefully that's good. We've got a fight between Welter and Ross for 2nd and 3rd, and then we've got a fight between Stevens and Chapman. That's 4th and 5th. I don't know, Gregory Burke, he's got some tricks up his sleeve if he can catch up that half a second, and we'll have a fight on for that. So, look, in the rough category, we've got a couple of battles.
Yeah, that 2nd, 3rd, and 3rd, 4th battle is they're the closest on the track right now, with the exception of this Oliver Fullerton. He's had a very, very quiet race in the RPR Mustang, coming up on the back of Mark Dial. Now, his teammate Martin Turner passed him just a few laps ago at the chase, if you recall. Now Dial's being swarmed by Fullerton, although he's just been delayed by being overtaken by Wilson, but he'll be heading back up there. Fullerton, another participant, the lone RPR participant in the Dev Series this season, and hopefully he's going to bring his mates along next season. But he did quite well running mid-pack in the AM category. And
yeah, definitely. I've had many races with Oliver, and he's another respectful mention that you got to say, that he does have really good racecraft, but at the same time he is a racer. He's out there to race and prove his position.
Yeah, he would be pushing right now to catch Mark Dial. That's a top 5 position right in front of him, just a couple of seconds down the road, and he's got 8 minutes to make it happen. 6 minutes even.
Yeah, there's a second between them, but He's probably feeling the pressure right now, and Oliver's probably going to give it a go. But I must admit, I will mention that James Wilson, in 3rd position. Only, not that far up the road there, he's doing a second less a lap than Mark Dial.
So absolutely storming Wilson. And I think he may be pulling back Paul Jones even.
Holy Jay, Paul Jones, first, leading the Mustang category. What happened to Craig Edwards?
I think he dropped out, but he's back. So panic, crisis averted. Craig Edwards is coming down to the elbow right now, and still in. May have just had a bit of a blink moment.
Oh, he went off the time. Yeah, he just went off the timing screens, and I just saw Paul Jones in first. I was like, hey, what's going on? CPR Karts man's taking out the Mustang category in the last 3 laps.
Stephen Davis on John Schultz now for 8th in the Mustang category, making the move into turn 1. So a couple of little close battles appearing. Codling and Nelson really close to the track right now, just seconds apart. So it's all starting to go off in the last few minutes of the race. Only 2.5 laps to go.
Oh, it definitely is. Everyone's putting that close battles on. It's been a close race so far. Everyone's done so well. Let's see what happens and unfolds in these top battles.
To demonstrate the scale of this win from Dylan Shepherd that's upcoming in just a couple of laps, he's lapped Gregory Berg, so only 5 cars on the lead lap at this point. Everyone outside of the top 5 has been lapped, and Shep's about to catch Mitchell Chapman.
Well, that's it. Okay, 35 cars are on this track at this moment. Okay, he's lapped every single one. So he's lapped 30 cars. Dylan Shepherd has lapped 30 cars, even 6 in his own category.
And this is fixed setup, so they're all in the same car. He's about to put a lap on Mitchell Chapman, who's driving the identical vehicle, and he's pulled fully 2 minutes 10 seconds on him in under 90 minutes, and there it goes. He's done it. So. And Chapman dropping backward, meanwhile, from Scott Stevens, but even he's he's at risk of being lapped here.
But look at the car. Look at the car. It's absolutely clean.
Yeah, Shepherd's had no issues whatsoever. So we were talking earlier about putting this amount of pace on this early in the race is too much of a risk from Shepherd. Not the case apparently. He's just persisted with this, and on low fuel he's done 2:08.6 last lap, so he nearly set the fastest lap of the race on 85-minute-old tyres, and just flawless. Frankly, there's been no concern about him at any stage potentially finishing anywhere other than first.
Definitely, like he's had a stellar drive. Not to mention half the other people that don't get some, recognition of what they've done. A lot of people have done some awesome stuff tonight. Trooper, Jones, obviously, Codling, Wood, Russ McQueen. Many people, the drivers that haven't got some coverage or even been in that mention because they've run that clean race. They've run that clean race and haven't got into the mix-ups and stuff that other broadcasts usually have, But well done to everyone so far. This will probably be the second last lap, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so to bring the attention back down the Mustang field, so we've Stephen Davis has had evidently not taken enough fuel at some point, and so that's brought him out in front of Michael Trooper. He's all over the back of him going up Mountain Straight, and certainly freed up Oliver Fullerton, who's somehow ended up behind Tony Pincan. Things are very strange in the Mustang field right now.
Chopping up and changing it. Man, I'm watching the timing screen here, but between is it 5th and 9th? They're only pretty close.
Yeah, so all the way from Turner back to Schultz is just a length of Conroe. And
yeah, definitely, it's really close considering the many laps. It's 41 or 42. Maybe Mustang's probably around about 36, 37 laps at the moment, but
yeah.
Wow, really close time.
I believe Shepard on the last lap, coming down to Forest Elbow now to clean this up, and so these Mustangs. So Michael Trooper's got one lap to make this work against Stephen Davis, and he's all over the back of him right now. Welter and Ross on the final lap, coming up into the cutting, and that's incredibly tight. So we'll see if Ross needs to put the send on it. And in fact, he's got really loose out of the cutting and dropped there about a second. So I think that might be the end of it. Dylan Shepard can clean this one up as he comes out of the.
Definitely got in the bag.
Comes out of Forest Elbow and parks up behind these two Mustangs. He'll get an extra lap to sort this out. To Michael Trooper, if he beats Shepard across the line, here he gets another lap to try and get it done, and I think he will. So this Trooper-Davis battle continues for one more lap. Scott Stevens getting the lap in the end, which means that Shepard lapped everyone except the other two cars in the top three.
Yeah, there's only two. What a drive! What a amazing drive!
Yeah, completely dominant. It's up there with Chris Whitaker in the Mustangs. He's about to finish now. He's just continually pulled gaps on Corey Ott all race, despite Ott having fantastic pace. He's been able to break the draft over and over and over whenever required. It's a fantastic effort from Chris as he finishes the race. It's his class. Craig Edwards has cleaned up a Mustang, and Paul Jones from CBR Karts crosses the line. James Wilson coming down to receive second place. Welter finishing second in the rough.
Yeah, what a drive from these boys. Spectacular.
The race I'm interested in right now, though, is Stephen Davis, as they go across the top of the mountain, has been passed by Michael Troop. The race continues, and Davis will get one more crack at getting this back down the hill, but Trooper seems to have the pace. They're catching an MX-5, though, and that's going to make things interesting as they come down into Forest Elbow.
Oh, this is going to be a close one just for the final. Is he going to push it? Oh, he did. He just touched the wall there. He was trying to get that run just on that redback car, trying to get up the back of him just on that final corner. Unfortunate, but that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, he threw everything at that. I think that...
he had to. Last lap, 90-minute race. He had to give it that. That was the only shot you were going to make it. You had to do it out of the elbow, but not even that. Even Trooper there, hitting the curb, the inside curb of the chase. He should have kept on.
I mean, Trooper's still wringing its neck to make sure that he can stay in front, but he's going to manage it, and really unfortunate for Stephen Davis that he apparently didn't fill the car enough to make the last 3 laps of the race. So I'm not sure whether he ran out of tank capacity or and just couldn't get enough fuel in it at the stop, or his fuel calculator's done him wrong.
The talent in this race was absolutely brilliant. How everything turned out, I think everyone was really respectful for everyone, and it was it was a really good race. It was pity I wasn't driving. How about you?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't hear right now because people are chatting away in the server. I'm gonna try.
Yeah, everyone's having a good old chat. Chinwag and saying about all the dramas they had, but I can tell you now, Troopers doing not too bad at the burnout a Mustang. And you won't hear that coming out of a Holden fan's mouth so much.
Yeah, and huge donuts down at T1 from Shepard as well right now.
Oh, even Steve Burgess and Roberts are going hard in the MX-5 here. Good screenshots here.
Yep.
Well done. Everyone did an amazing job. It was a really good, clean race. Sad to say I wasn't actually racing it.
Yeah, I think I would have loved to be in the MX-5, to be honest. That seemed like really, really good racing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have had to get my head kicked in.
I have to agree with you there. I have to agree with you.
Certainly the closest for the whole duration, and you know, that draft making things super, super interesting.
So let's look at the top 20. Okay, we had Shepard, Welter, Ross, Stevens, Chapman, Burke, Nelson, Codling, Hinkley, McQueen, Wood, Edwards, Jones, Wilson, Turner, Dial, Pincan, Fullerton, Schultz and Trooper. How much did that change over the last, say, 15 minutes?
Yeah, really significantly. There was a huge period of time there where really nothing changed from sort of minute 15 to minute 45 or 50, and then it just exploded in that last half an hour. You know,
yeah, it
fantastic
was.
work.
I was just looking at the time, and I looked at it and realised, oh my god, we've only got like 10 minutes left, and I was like, I'm ready to watch another 30 minutes of this race. I thought it was brilliant.
It certainly seemed like a lot of stuff had wrapped up, and then after the last pit stops, it just opened back up again. Actually, we're joined now in the commentary box by the Mustang winner Craig Edwards from Fusion Sim Racing, and Craig, you walked away with that in the end. It looked like you were under a fair bit of pressure at the start from the CPR car of Jones, but managed to drop the hammer sometime around the 30-minute mark and get a gap. Do you want to tell us how you managed that?
Yep, no worries. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, Paul was right on me in that first stint. It was looking like I just couldn't break away, but then I think once we hit traffic, I was able to negotiate that just a little bit better. I also made a lot of time in the pit stops. I'm not sure what Paul was doing, whether he was taking tyres or not, but each time we came into the pits, I was gaining about 5 or 6 seconds during that time. So then that last stint, I was just looking after the car. I had a nice little cushion to build, and I think right at the end there, Paul was letting a couple of guys by, so that the gap just sort of grew. So yeah, it was a good race. Damn good driving from the entire field. The level of respect out there was off the charts. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, we said that a couple of times over the race. Even you guys to the rough guys and letting them through, even though you had your own battle with Jones in itself, you still left everyone past and all that. How did you find it with the traffic?
It was possibly the best multi-class race I've ever been in traffic-wise. Yeah, I didn't get dived on. I didn't feel like anyone was getting in my way from the slower classes. I hope I didn't dive anyone myself. Yeah, no, it was really good. And the fact that we didn't have a safety car the whole time is sort of testament to that, I think. Yeah,
I think it was a really clean race between everyone that was in it. A lot of respect was given between the classes, the MX-5s, the Mustangs, and the Roughs. Everyone had their own battles, and at one point, obviously you had your battle with Jones and stuff. But the question is, how was the front right fender?
Oh, was it looking a bit second-hand?
Oh, it was. I think it was Mustangs. I think it was the first. It would have been first 5, Alex, that had front right fender damage.
Pretty much every Mustang seemed to have touched itself up at Forest Hill, but at least one.
That's quite interesting because I think I only tickled the wall at Reed Park once. That was my only contact with the wall. But I didn't note any damage, didn't feel bad, and the next pit stop I didn't have anything on the optional repairs, so it was a bit of a weird one. Maybe smacking the suspension at the dipper was having a bit of an impact too. I know some cars will bottom out and damage their fronts doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it. And then there's always the old Iracing spectator damage, which doesn't always reflect reality. Did you think did you need to do any management during that race, or was that just flat stick for you and sort of? Were there any fuel concerns? We sort of wondered about whether there'd be strategy involved.
Yeah, the fuel window was narrow down to the lap, but also comfortable with about 3 or 4 litres either side. So I was set beforehand on a pit lap that I had to come in on, but I wasn't saving fuel. I wasn't feeling stressed about making it to that lap. So, and only a safety car would have shuffled that up, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that explains we saw at least one car must have stopped early at some point and then didn't make the end of the race. So we saw I think 2 last moment stops for Mustangs, which actually created some of the better battles. So yeah, good work on pre-calculating your fuel. That can catch you out for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely a question I was going to ask just before. Was how did you deal with the fuel, and was there any strategy behind it? But I guess you answered that question already. So no, well done, Craig Edwards. You did really well tonight.
Is there anyone you need to get your thanks out to?
Yep, absolutely. So first to our team, Fusion Sim Racing, and our sponsors, AWS, Dripping Paint Graphics, and Eclipse Signage. Shout out to Mr. Scotty Stevens, my teammate in that race. He was in the weeds on turn 1, and he's driven a beautiful race to come back to 4th. And finally, to the organisers tonight, what a great job. And CM Security and CPR Racing, fantastic stuff supporting this series.
Considering he was chasing you down all night, good old, Paul Jones there from CPR. He was trying to find you all night.
Can't be understated. Yeah, he was. He had showed some great pace early. I was just fortunate to get away because he was putting the pressure on.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us in the commentary box here, and congratulations on your Mustang win there. You drove.
No worries. Thanks, gentlemen. I'll catch you later.
Later, mate.
So, joined by Dylan Shepherd now from our rough winner. Welcome.
The man of the hour.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Absolutely stellar drive, mate. I gotta say, lapping the whole thing until 4th place. How did you do that?
Really, I think it was a bit of luck and a bit of maybe just consistency. The lap cars were absolutely awesome. I think the mix of MX-5s and Mustangs and Roughs work really well. The approach speeds aren't too ridiculously fast, but approaching them at dangerous speeds, and it's also not that close that you're side by side with them for too long. So it was just easy to lap through the field without incidents, which was just big credit to everyone on track. I think everyone did really well, and I think the guys behind me, I saw one of them hit the wall at Forest Elbow, I think once, and then I don't know what happened to Andrew, but I think he had another incident as well. So I think it was just a bit of luck, a bit of bad luck for the other guys for me, really. But yeah, it's just cruising around, really.
Yeah, there was a few little moments between the other ones behind you. Dean Ross, 3rd position, he had a little bit of a drama at the start, but he did come back. But overall, mate, you cannot fault your consistent lap after lap after lap. That was absolutely a stellar job. Is it one of these positions that you know that car that well, and you drive it that well?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's just because it's similar to the Porsche Cup car, which I do a lot of laps in. I think the Porsche Cup car is my main car, so it has a lot of similarities to it being a 997 to a 991 though. But the older model was just bleeping the throttle, and then everything else really kind of brakes a bit better. I think also the fixed setup that the guys in the admin have made for the race was awesome as well. It was so comfortable to drive. There was never a moment where the car felt out of control. It was just a solid setup. So yeah, I think it was just big credit for that as well. So it was just an easy car to drive, and I didn't have to push. It was just relaxing, and when you're not stressing out and pushing yourself, I think that's when the consistency comes. It's when you're pushing for positions that the mistakes happen. So I was just fortunate to be in a position where I didn't have to push for a lot of the time.
Yeah, so you do specialise in the Porsche Cup. So that's right, isn't it? Isn't Dylan? You're running up the front of is it Super Cup or?
Yeah, I run every now and then in the Porsche Cup Australia. I've won a few rounds this season, but and also I think I was top 10 or something in the official series the first season of 2018. But it is my favourite car to drive, just because it's not like GT3. I just can't get my head around because people are so ridiculously fast in it. But it's also just it's one of them cars that when you master a lap in it, it feels the best. So it is my favourite car. So I'd say, I think the skills of that car definitely helped today because I didn't have to do too many laps, but as well as just the setup from the admin, like I was just straight up in the car and the car felt comfortable. It didn't take long to learn it.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I mean, it's clear you were comfortable because I think we saw you do 1/10 off your fastest race lap on the second last lap of the race on 90-minute old tyres. So clearly you were finding it quite easy to get around in. Some other people really starting to struggle at that point on the old tyres. Fantastic job. I mean, not much to discuss really because, a few of the, I think you lost the lead for a very short time at the start to Andrew, but once you got that back, it was just consistent low nines and walking away.
Yeah, thank you very much. It feels great to have a smooth event, and I think it's just an awesome event to be a part of. I can't thank the AMF guys. I've never been with these guys before in this series, so to see the professionalism of the admins and how well the event was run, how good the setup was, just they've obviously put a lot of time and effort into tonight's race, so big shout out to them guys because they've made it what it is.
I just got to say a quick question there. I was actually just looking through the list there for the AMF Dev Series. Your name's not on the list. Will it be?
I don't think I'm allowed to race in it because of the I-rating cap. I'm at 4,500. I think the limit is a bit low.
Yeah, because it is 3,000 plus.
For GT3 Dev, you can race Pro Class, which is unlimited if you so choose.
It is 3,000
So
plus.
last season's winner, Craig Edwards, at 5,100 currently.
Well, there you go.
Think about it, mate.
I think the boys between Craig and Trent Thomas, I think they scare me away a little bit.
I've told Trent he's not allowed to race next season if he's in the Mercedes. So he's got to make an effort to drive something he's not familiar with.
Look, if the events keep being like this, I'm sure you'll see me definitely run like the Enduros or something, or if I ever get time. It's definitely a series I want to come back with, or like these guys. It's just, I couldn't believe how well run it was. So I definitely do look forward to coming back and racing with you guys.
Thanks,
Okay.
Dylan. Anyone you need to get some thanks out to before you head off?
Yeah, I'll just shout out to One Performance Racing and the boys back there, just for everything all the effort they've been putting in lately. The Knight Rider designs, he didn't paint the rough. That's why it looks terrible, because I decided to do it. But yeah, big shout out to Knight Rider Designs. He helps us with all the other cars, and Fast Karts Racing Developments. Them guys help us out a lot as well. That's it, I think.
Well, thanks for joining us, Dylan, and congrats on the win there. That was a stellar drive.
Yeah, cheers, guys, and thanks for putting on the broadcast and taking your time out to do that.
No worries, mate. All right, we're joined by Chris Whittaker, the white MX-5 Cup car that was flawless run tonight. How are you going, Chris?
Yeah, going well, thanks. Going well. How about yourselves?
Oh, not too bad. It was good watching you run laps around this joint.
Yeah, no, I put a bit of practice in this week, and quali went well for us, and obviously ended up with the win there. So it certainly wasn't easy at the start there. The boys were putting some pressure on us, so that was good. But I forgot to put JRT on, forgot to put crew chief on. So I actually had my brother-in-law Anthony, who was racing with us in the MX-5s as well, was yelling out fuel numbers all the way through. So yeah, we got a little bit lucky there, I think.
I don't think that was luck, mate. The driving there from you was good. A couple of stages through the broadcast, we were focusing on you and Corey Ott and that. He was catching you in certain few corners, but you just kept pulling away. You just had that consistency that you were pulling away. How did you feel the car tonight?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, the MX-5's always been... I mean, everyone's had to play with the MX-5, let's be honest. So it's always been a really good car on the baseline setup, and it's just neutral. I know a couple of people struggle, and that's the first race that I've ever done actually using a clutch pedal. I usually run auto blip and auto clutch, things like that, but took a little bit of getting used to, but it was, from what I found, worth about a second a lap in doing that as well. So it was a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a huge gain. We were talking the whole time about the sort of unique situation you have with the MX-5, where you had Corey swarming you for huge chunks of that race and had to repeatedly break the draft. And there were a number of times where across the top of the mountain you would pull out 1 second, but not enough to break the draft, and those guys would just vacuum clean you up down the back straight again. And certainly, I think moving to that clutch pedals helps you break that draft, because if you are losing that time up mountain straight from those repeated shifts, you're really in trouble.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, the guys on the Discord channel can tell you exactly what was going through my mind every single lap when I saw that happening as well. There's a couple of colourful words coming out, but that is what it is. It's part and parcel of racing MX-5s.
Yeah, and so, did you feel at any point that you were in trouble, or the guys on Discord managed to keep you under control and keep you focused to do that? I think we saw you have to break the draft maybe 4 times in that race.
It's the kind of thing, once you break the draft once, you can do it once. It's just a matter of trying to keep your head down and eyes forward, and worry about what you're doing, hit your marks, not worry about what they're doing back there. And I think the faster cars kind of helped me out a little bit as well. I got lucky a lot of times with faster traffic coming through, who sort of were able to just buy us that 2/10 that was enough to just split the field up or split our little pack up. Admittedly, I got caught out with a couple of them as well, but again, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, it was definitely a solid job. I gotta say, we did go back to just the racecraft that you had and just managing the other cars, the faster cars, the Mustangs and the Ross. How did you deal with that through the race?
It's just a matter of, obviously, you got the relatives sitting there and just keeping an eye on what colours are coming up. I mean, the MX-5, you got plenty of time to do everything around back there, so it's not too bad. I mean, I don't know. I've got a bit of history in motorsport, so I tend to keep my eyes open a little bit more than what some other people on the service do. But it's a courtesy thing. If I'm in the faster car, I expect people who are in the slower car to be aware of where I'm at, and vice versa. To win the race, you need to finish. If you don't finish, you don't win. So you need to be aware of where the faster cars are, so that you don't come together with them and take each other out.
Yeah. And so when it comes to, you mentioned fuel numbers before, I'm just interested in, again, your stop strategy. Was this an issue where you needed to, we were getting, Craig was telling us before that he had a 1-lap window for each stop. I'm just wondering, is that the situation you had, or you were trying to underfill the car, or where were you at with that?
Well, to be honest, because my fuel strategy straight up was totally different to the rest of the guys in that front pack. So they all, well, from what I can tell, they short filled because they were in a lot earlier than what I had to come in. So I went the full fill and tyres in the first stop. Because the Mazda takes so bloody long to get fuel into it. Took the boots at the start there as well, and then I didn't know where Corey was at coming into that second stop. I couldn't see him on the relative. I was asking the other guys on track, where's he at? And no one could actually see it. So I just rolled the dice at the end, to be honest. Anthony gave me the good fuel number, so I knew, look, I'm not going to get away with the 8 litres. I have to go to the 11, so dumped that in there and just went, oh, you know what, let's just throw boots at it anyway. I'd rather it be fresh at the end. If it cost me a couple of seconds, it cost me a couple of seconds. But again, that might be the difference between sticking it in the wall and finishing the race. So it was more of a insurance policy, I guess.
And you didn't consider the take right side only strategy you see sometimes happen in MX-5s?
I was going to, but to be honest, I've never driven it. So, because coming into the pits, I was actually thinking no tyres, and then I actually couldn't find my mouse, to be honest, as I was coming down pit lane. So that kind of made my decision for me. But
Sure.
by the time obviously you've stopped, it's already started the right side. I did consider that when I found my mouse. I was going to unclick it. I thought, no, I want it to be neutral still. I want to know what it's going to do when I turn into Griffins. And let's just take the sacrifice of a couple extra seconds. I think it was about 4 seconds faster on that stop than what the first step was, but it took on nearly half the fuel. So is what it is, but it obviously worked.
Yeah, I mean, you came out with a decent gap to Corey in the end anyway, so not necessary to break the draft that last time. Yeah,
I think it was about 6 seconds. I think you had when you were coming on the straight.
I saw there was a decent gap there, 6 seconds. I was just thinking, oh well, that's enough for now. Who knows what's going to happen with traffic? I mean, I know he chewed in 4 seconds or something at the start of the race, or that might have been Tyler actually, who was on fire, and I think he had a bit of an incident up the top. Anthony was saying, but the guys at the start of the race there took a couple of big chunks out of me, and I was a little bit nervous there. But at the end, I mean, I'd done enough laps. I was pretty consistent with the lap times, so it was just more or less after those first two out of the pits when it was back to consistent times again. Okay, well, yeah, we're sweet. We'll just drive to his number, and ended up pulling out a couple of seconds after that anyway. So it was just basically managing the gap more than anything.
Yeah, there was a moment there between when Tyler was there and Corey was behind him. That Tyler did have pace, but obviously he got caught up in traffic and got caught up in something else. Is there any point that you were looking at the relative or looking in the rear mirror thinking, oh, is he going to crack it? Or
I was always looking, try not to look too much is the secret, obviously, but you got to keep an eye out if he's going to throw it up the inside. You want to be able to counter it as soon as you can. Into Griffins, we had a couple of side-by-side runs through there, and full credit to Tyler, and that we didn't make any contact on either of those occasions, but he also pulled out of it as well, so it made my life a little bit easier there. But keeping an eye on it and see where they're at. Obviously, when it gets to sort of a tenth or 2 tenths away, the heart rate goes up a little bit, and you're thinking, where do I need to position the car? And at the end of the day, around Bathurst and MX5, stick the car in the middle of the track. It's going to be the hardest way for him to get around.
Oh, that's exactly right. Well, is there anyone you would like to thank or reach out to while you're here?
Yeah, definitely. So I've got to thank the guys from FT1 Motorsports, obviously, for taking me under their wing just before the last GT3 development series. So thank those guys. Thank our sponsors, Demon Tweaks, Discord, Craig Setup Shop, all these fellows, personal sponsors, GCG Turbochargers. Thank you very much to those guys. But most importantly, I'd actually like to dedicate this win to my daughter. During the week, she was actually diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, which we seem to have under control at the moment. It's a rare form. It's going to be potentially years to get over this, but she's doing well. So dedicate this win to Madison.
Oh, that's really good, mate. And I'm sorry to hear about that. No doubt we will talk more about this offline, if you don't mind, Chris. And I hope all the best and everything for you and your family and your daughter. And I got to say about tonight's race, you did spectacular, mate. It was an awesome win for you, mate. You drove really well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Chris.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us in here.
No worries. Well, wrapping up tonight's broadcast, I would like to say thanks to the AMF Dave Series blokes. We've got Ryan and Justin that put so much time and effort into this series. Not only that, we'd like to thank the sponsors, Bruce Ross and CM Security. And then not only that, the guy that we Paul Jones at Sema. It's cutting in and out, sorry. I apologise. Thank the sponsor, Sam Security, Bruce Ross, and then not only that, Paul Jones. He has a lot to do with the Aussie sim racing community, and it was good to see him in a race tonight and really push. He didn't get that first position, but he was right there on the back of Craig Edwards, as you heard from before, and good on him. Alex, thanks for jumping in the commentary box and helping us out tonight, and also
no problem.
Bruce Ross for doing all the overlays and all the ATVO stuff and all the broadcast stuff as well.
Yeah, Bruce really crushed it on the broadcasting front tonight, and stream seemed to run really smoothly, so it's all going well.
Yeah, it was good. All in all, everyone's got to understand that this is the AMF's first broadcasted live stream. Help with, obviously, CPR cards that do a lot, as I've already mentioned, and CM Security, Bruce Ross himself, has donated his time to do this, along with Alex Bird, also known as Birdman, and then Justin and Ryan that put the series together, because the avid, fun sim racing community people. You got to thank everyone that jumped in the race tonight and put their time together. It worked out to be an awesome race with some awesome little battles there that was going on. I'm pretty sure that Alex would vouch for this, that we had a hard time trying to keep up with watching timing stream and watching the cars and who was battling who. But it was a good race. It was a good commentary, good stream. Any last words, Alex?
No, not really. I mean, just to say that, it looks like everyone did a really good job. And, definitely be back for this next time, either to race or help out again, because it's just, really excellent little fun week 13 exercise, and definitely worth participating in.
Well, that's it. I think we should, just before the broadcast ends and before Bruce Ross signs off, even though he's been in the commentary box and hasn't said a word all night, I think that we should pull Justin and Ryan here to say a couple of words. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. Drag them up.
Ryan, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, Steve. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I thought I'd drag you and Ryan up here just to have a quick chat before the broadcast. And how do you think everyone went well tonight? What's your feed from the steward room?
I don't know about Justin, but from myself, I couldn't be happier as a steward. The racing was fantastic. Everyone was keeping a real level head and just really looking out for their fellow drivers. And it was great. We gave her 2 penalties, but I've given a lot more than 2 penalties in a 45-minute race before, let alone a 90-minute race. So, no, I think it was fantastic racing by all drivers.
Justin, what's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, it was definitely a clean race. Made it a little bit boring for us, but we'll take that. Yeah,
it was a bit quiet there for a bit. I think everyone was really respectful, and I think that everyone looked at the overall the old game plan of the race.
Yeah, I think people were looking at the bigger picture, and I think the fact that it was multi-class, everyone was just backing off just that little bit extra just to make sure that they did nothing wrong.
Yep, most of the people racing tonight race with us regularly as well, so they know the standards that we expect, and it's good to see them follow it.
That's good. So the next thing we've got coming up is, obviously, we've mentioned before when we talked to you, Ryan, that week 1 is coming up of the GT3 Dev Series.
Yes, so that's coming up on Sunday, but on Saturday we actually have our first ever race for our endurance series as well. Sorry, Saturday, I mean.
So that's going to be a good one. Where's that one?
That'll be at Phillip Island. So we've got LMP1s and GT3s around Phillip Islands for 3 hours.
Good old Aussie track there. What about Justin, your Monday night? Where are we at?
It's a good question, mate.
I know the answer to that one.
Go ahead and look it up.
We are at Lania in the Legends.
Sweet. That's cool. At least most of these boys will come back and hit the AMF Dev Series up. It's a good thanks to you boys, as you can see by probably the YouTube chat if you go through there. And the boys are mentioning good things about the series. And and everything that's been put together, and it's going to be big in the future, as it's already gaining some traction over the last 4 years that it's been going. So, yeah, thanks to you boys for putting it together. Props to you and the sponsors as well.
Yeah, I would like to say a big shout out to my sponsors, CPR Carts, CM Security, and Arbicon. Without those guys, it's pretty hard to go forward with doing what we're doing. I'd like to special mention to Bruce for doing all the overlays for our broadcast, and Steve, yourself, jumping in and doing commentary for us. It's been fantastic. Alexander Bird jumping in the comms box tonight was great too. A lot of people don't know, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background that people that don't get mentioned that help out this series. And I'd just like to thank all of those people that help out behind to help this series get up and running the way it has been.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, thanks for that. Looking forward to seeing how the endurance series plays out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, hopefully they get some good action and some, well, the quality of drivers that we saw tonight as well. I think that'd be really good to see.
Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be broadcast this season, so if you want to see it, you're going to have to jump in firsthand and drive it.
That sounds good to me, mate.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
All right, Steve, so that seems like the end of it, doesn't it?
Well, it still does. It's like a bittersweet thing. It's like you don't want it to end. It was a good race. It was a good stream. It was good fun to be here, and I appreciate you being in the comm box with us. And Bruce has been quiet all night. Maybe he might say a word or not. But yeah, no, thanks for that, Alex.
Yeah, no, cheers, Steve, and yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
There was no need for me to talk. You guys had it completely covered. Great job.
Yeah, well, there's the first word he said all night. He's been running the controls behind the scenes.
That all worked out well. Got a little bit of glitches here and there that we've got to iron out, but yeah, we'll get it there and make sure she's working for the next season of GT3 Development Series.
Yeah, well, all in all, thanks to the stream for watching, and thanks to these two guys, Bruce and Alex. It wouldn't have happened without these two boys. Not only, Ryan and Justin that put it together and a lot of other people, but these two main people that put it all together. And I'll say thanks to you guys. And that's me signing off for the night.
Thanks, Steve, and thanks everyone for watching.
Yep, thank you very much.